Salakia. Alright, Shalom, yo. I want to give all praise to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the Akim out there, spreading this truth like wildfire. And Shalom to the Israelite foreigners who look like the other nations, but their spirit beareth witness that they're the children of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. And Shalom to the real sisters out there. Alright. Alright, today I want to go into this World War III, this brewing that's brewing out there specifically in the South China Sea, which is tensions, like that beef between China and America's is getting hotter, man, and it shows that we almost there. There's an article that I found, and basically China is tired of Esau shit. That's what I want to go into first. It's an article from the Express UK newspaper. South China Sea threat. Beijing warned to fear U.S. influence as World War III alarm bells ring. Yeah, China has been warned that they should fear U.S. influence in the South China Sea as the risk of an all-out conflict has increased. Hold on, Akim. My screen froze up. Fucking Satan. Satan trying to hinder. But yeah, let me get back on it. Yeah. China has been warned that they should fear U.S. influence in the South China Sea as the risk of all-out conflict has increased, quote unquote. China claims it has a historic right of ownership to almost the entire South China Sea, despite 26 international arbitration rulings say Beijing's claim had no legal basis under international law. Because of course, Esau, Edom, like, of course they're gonna be on the side of Babylon. Because Babylon, that's the hammer of the whole earth. But the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Brunei also have overlapping claims to it, so they're also claiming a part of the sea, even though they're saying that their claim has no legal basis. Basically, they can claim that all these other countries can claim a piece of the pie, basically. Which, of course, because they're under the influence of Esau, Edom. They're under the influence of Babylon, so it's more, especially Taiwan, so it's more it's biased for them, basically. Yeah, the ruling would be biased for them. And Esau and these Moabites, they're getting tired of that shit. And F's head of transport, Jonathan Moss, has explained China should be fearful of the U.S. getting involved. And what you can't blame these Moabites for getting tired of that, getting tired of Esau's shit over there, and shit being rigged against them. Speaking to Express Co UK, Mr. Moss said, "I think it would be U.S. influence, so if the U.S. decides to debate, negotiate, and adopt a mantle for the countries, quote unquote, if they become the parole for these particular countries, I think that would be more of an issue for China, because at the moment we got this discussion and debate between the two leaders about trade deals. So they're saying if that Babylon is basically, it's a threat, that if Babylon gets more involved in that region, then it's gonna make China listen because it's a major power." Well, really, China is getting tired of Esau's shit. They're getting tired of taking the high road, because these Moabites, they want their. First of all, Esau is all up in Moab shit, in the South China Sea. Imagine if Moab they had fucking ships in the Gulf of Mexico and shit. Esau would flip shit. But you know who runs this world. Also, Moab think they got next, so that's also why they're more likely to buck up. And this is what he goes into next. Mr. Moss also noted that there is a real risk of further conflict in the waters. He said, "I think there's definitely a risk of all-out conflict. Quote unquote, there have been pockets of conflict before. Going back about 20 years, there was a naval battle where 3 Chinese vessels were engaged with the Philistine Navy gunboats. Quote unquote, that was in the Spratly Islands. There was definitely a risk of, quote unquote, there's definitely a risk of isolated incidents, and as we know, a string of isolated incidents can lead to major conflict. It is gonna do that coming World War III. It's gonna involve all these nations, all these countries. They gonna, well, really, all these countries and nations are eventually gonna turn against Babylon. It should be on the radar as a danger, quote unquote. It comes as 2 U.S. Air Force B-1B bombers took off from Guam and headed west over the Pacific Ocean to the hotly contested South China Sea. So the U.S. is already, and they've been sending Navy ships and bombers over there. So that's just making the situation even harder. It's a threat. It's a threat. They're like, Esau is showing off his sword over there. The sleek jets made a low-level pass over the aircraft carrier USS Ronald Reagan and his escorting fleet, which was exercising nearby in the Philippine Sea, according to images released by the U.S. military. The operation was part of the Trump administration's intensifying challenge to China's ruling Communist Party and its sweeping territorial claims over one of the world's most important strategic waterways. So basically Esau is picking a fight with Moab by getting up like all up in their shit basically, and they're basically sending the military to their threat to their own backyard basically, and this is only gonna intensify the situation and down there, and China gonna get involved. They're gonna be involved in that World War III. It's gonna further push them to that point of using their military against Esau Edom. And so World War III, it's getting even closer. I titled it World War III Brewing Part World War III part. That's why I put World War III Brewing in the title, cause it's pretty much this is how it's happening. This is how it's being. This is how shit getting hot over there. And it's almost done too. Almost ready to serve up. That cup of Yahweh Shem Yahushai's wrath. And that's that third woe. That third woe, that last woe. There's 3 woes, and so far there's been 2 wars and another one coming up. This is a part of that woe. China is one of the kings of the East. That's how we're gonna have these Moabites involved over there as well, as well as in the Valley of Yehoshaphat. You're gonna have them involved. You're gonna have these Moabites involved there too. That third woe. I'm looking for that scripture about that third woe. That third woe coming soon. Think it's far off, but it's not. It's coming soon. Trying to find it. Yeah. Hold on. Oh, Shalom, Akwad. Yahweh Shem Yahushai Brakatah. This World War III heating up. Khan, Kahalai Yahweh Shem Yahushai. We can't come soon enough. That's that third woe. I'm trying to find that scripture where it talk about the third woe coming quickly. God. Revelation chapter 11 verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And you can see it. You can see it's closer than it was before. It's close today. The third woe is closer than it was yesterday. I mean, there's probably even new developments we don't even know about. It's coming soon. And beforehand, they talk about this. Basically, talk about Babylon being destroyed, and the same talk about us being delivered and Babylon being destroyed. This is the patience and faith of the saints. And they heard, verse 12, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in the clouds, and their enemies beheld them. Verse 13, and the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the God of heaven. You know, and that's that third woe when it's finally over with. Yeah, it's finally over with. In China, they're one of the kings of the East, along with Russia, Iran, and them. That's why this happened. There's actually a drought over there in the Euphrates area. Revelation chapter 16, verse 12, and the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And this is how they're already getting in that mood, and it's like I mentioned before, the river's already being dried up. The apostle Tahar, I think he went into that. Yeah, I think it was him. So, and that makes sense, you know, because Russia, Iran, China, you know, those are the main countries that coming up against Babylon. And one of China's allies, you know, is North Korea. You know, they also got beef with Babylon. And they got something called, they got a satellite that actually is called the Rising Sun or some shit, where they could cause an EMP and then to hit Babylon. And that's Revelation chapter 16, verse 10, and the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain. So that's how these two judgments are going to come about. And that's these heathen nations being prepared. You know, this is basically a precept to what I brought out. It's in Joel chapter 3, that valley of Yehoshaphat. And get this one right here. Joel chapter 3, verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Verse 10. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. So all these countries didn't used to be a big deal. Now you see them. You see them flexing their muscles. You see them acting like they got it, because they do got it. Everybody got missiles now. And Russia and China backing up these other countries because they got nukes. Pretty much. Let me just read it. Verse 13. Put ye in the sickle for the harvest. Oh yeah. Verse 12. Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Yehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. So how are they gonna be judged? They're gonna fight against each other. Verse 13. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full, the fast overflow, for their wickedness is great. Verse 14. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahweh Shem Yahushai is near in the valley of decision. You can see that. The sun and the moon, verse 15, shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. So when the nukes hit and the mushroom clouds cover the skies, that's like a fulfillment of that. And also these signs that have been in they've been in the heavens, signs of, because that's a part of that too, like the solar and lunar eclipses and all that. In verse 16, Yahweh Shem Yahushai shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, which is a people before its place in the heavens, and the earth shall shake. That great earthquake. But Yahweh Shem Yahushai will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. So that's the judgment of these heathens, because all of these heathens, they participated in our people's captivity. And Moab is actually on that Psalm 83 list. It's one of the top nations. Yeah, Psalm 83, verse 6. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes. So Edom, the so-called white man, of course. The Ishmaelites, the Arabs of Moab, that's them. That's the so-called Chinese. And the Hagarenes. That's more Ishmaelites, and could be Hamites too, because Hagar, she was an Egyptian. Gebal and Ammon, so that's the so-called Japanese. And Amalek, the so-called Jews. The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, it's more Hamites. Verse 8, Sur is also joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Moab is one of the children of Lot. So all these countries that are going to be involved in this World War III, they were involved in our people's downfall. Yeah, Joel 3 verse 2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down to the valley of Yehoshaphat and will plead for them there. The word there is judge, of course. And will plead for them there, for my people and for my heritage Israel. whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. That's why they gotta pay. And it's in the same days this is happening. You see our people waking up. For behold, in those days and in this time, while we bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. Around the same time this is happening. And around the same time these nukes fall, that's the same time we're going to be delivered. That World War III is coming soon, and that's why Esau is making his move. That's why Esau is putting out more unrighteous draconian decrees. Like, I went over a few days ago that unrighteous decree in Ohio, where they could basically grab up your kids and they'll have a surprise sleepover. These devils make it sound so innocent, but it ain't. It's anything but. It's actually very diabolical. Because we all know how these devils get down when it comes to these kids. These devils, his mind, his soul, and well, that's where his soul is at. His mind is not right, basically. His soul raised up in him is not right in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 4. But let me get into it, because this is another unrighteous decree.
Went into the title says CDC advises parents to prepare to have children taken overnight. Okay, which that's what it goes into, but it also mentions within that article
something
college
about
students, okay, as well as people in regular households. Okay, and so I found another article, which is on the same site, which says college students can be ordered to isolation facilities, says new state order. Now, who's in charge of these isolation facilities? When you read in the previous article, it tells you that there was an order for FEMA, all right, for there to be FEMA shelters created. Notice they won't use the word camps, but they'll use the word shelters, right?
Same
so
shit.
FEMA shelters created and to be utilized for isolation. So if they're mentioning isolation facilities,
smooth
all right,
talk
that people are going to be sent to, all right, you should wonder who's going to be in charge of that as well. So they're not coming for just your.
They're going to kidnap you and take you to a shelter. No, they detaining you.
Now they're coming for college students as well.
Taking you to a prison.
As well as the individuals in their households. So you thinking they're going to come for my kids, I'm going to go protect my kids. Guess what? They're coming for you as well. Now in this article is very interesting as I read down concerning, being able to leave. All right, because once you're checked in here, well, I'm going to read it. It says the most recent order from the Ohio Department of Health could require college students to be sent into isolation facilities by health officials, even when they do not test positive for COVID-19.
So wait.
You hear that? I'm going to read it again.
I thought this was about protecting people from the Rona.
The most recent order from the Ohio Department of Health could require college students to be sent into isolation facilities by health officials, even when they do not test positive for COVID-19. The order was signed by Ohio Health Director Lance D. Himes late Monday, August 31st. Now it says here, removal to a COVID facility could be required if the student lives in a dorm or in a situation with a shared bathroom or bedroom that does not meet isolation criteria established by health officials. Per the order, anyone testing positive for COVID who does not require hospitalization can be ordered into isolation. So they're not just coming for people, all right, who need to be, it says who does not require hospitalization. So if if you're not sick to the point where you have to be checked into a hospital, they can order you, okay, into isolation. And how convenient they have isolation centers for you, because now, all right, they've played the card, all right, already, of telling people to self-quarantine. And when they first said that, we told you they know damn well that's not an effective way. However, they still had to put it out there so they can be justified when they take even more severe measures. They can look back and say, hey, look, we're doing this because when we told you to self-quarantine, all right, people didn't do it. And then that led to the virus, still being there and killing more people. So now we have to actually have isolation centers where we can take these people and monitor them, so we know that they're quarantined.
That's how they do.
It says, additionally, anyone who has been exposed to COVID and anyone who is asymptomatic but deemed high risk can be ordered to isolation as a precautionary measure. You hear that? Now, who determines whether you're high risk or not? And for all you know, you could just not have it, but then they'll throw that under the category of asymptomatic. Oh, no. We know you don't feel any symptoms, but you have it. You just don't know it yet.
You see how these devils do.
And it says they can order you into isolation as a precautionary measure. So you don't even have to test positive. If they suspect that you're asymptomatic or you're at high risk of having it or being exposed to it, they can order you to isolation. Now, notice the words they're using. Can be ordered. Okay? Can be ordered. Now, once they give you an order, they need to have a policy or something in place to make sure that the order is followed. What about the rebellious students? How do we get those students into the isolation facilities if they refuse? Do we have to use force? Do we have to send? Why did was it Cuomo, I believe, who sent in them SWAT team into that college?
SWAT teams.
So if they have trouble, if they're emailing you or they're contacting you and you're refusing, don't be surprised if they come in there with people who are going to forcefully remove you, detain you, and send you to these isolation centers.
Eventually, the martial law.
Now, even more interesting,
detain people.
It says students exiting hospitals also could be required to isolate in such a facility, said the order. Quarantined students cannot leave an isolation facility until they have a written release from health officials. I'm going to read it again. Quarantined students cannot leave an isolation facility until they have a written release from health officials. You might go in there, they'll say, it's only 2 weeks. 2 weeks come by, okay, I'm ready to go. Well, we were testing you and the way your vitals are looking, let's give it another 2 weeks. Next thing you know, you're not leaving.
Yep. You ain't leaving that bitch.
And you're going to be one of those telling the newcomers, I've been here for 2 months. When I came in here, they told you 2 weeks. Guess what? They told me 2 weeks too. It's been 2 months. All right?
Yeah, because that's just
And then it takes it a step further. All right? It says each educational institution would decide if parents or other visitors would be authorized to enter the facility per the order. So if the educational institution says, no, you're not allowed any visitors, guess what? Your parents can't come see you. And you can't leave this isolation facility.
You're stuck in that bitch.
Okay? And we've been warning you about these things for years to come. Man, I say years to come. For years, man. Okay? From our elders and apostles on down. And they're going to take full advantage of this winter. And this chaos that's about to break forth is going to give them the perfect justification to already have the military on standby, to have the boots to the ground. And if they're already here, all right, they're going to use force. Because these are things that no parent is going to sit there and say, I'm going to allow you to detain my child and I can't see them. And they might, these parents might say, no, I'm not going to agree to that. The children, the college students might say, hell no, you're not taking me anywhere. But then again, that's when you send in the force. You send in the marshals. You send in FEMA troops. Because if these are going to be FEMA isolation centers, all right, as per the troops are going to be there to guard it. So now you're seeing FEMA is starting to step in into the hands of FEMA. And once
Just
FEMA takes full control, your constitution is out the window. It's gone. And now FEMA rules. Okay? And this is what's staring you down straight up in the face, man. But what are our people doing? They're just roaming about pursuant to Luke 17 and 26. They're living their lives, giving in marriage, getting ready to build communities. Okay? Having a good old time. Because they think that, the virus died down a little bit. They're about to come for your asses, man. Revelation 12 and 12. They're about to come down with great wrath. No mercy, man. If the Most High, Bahashem Yahushai, doesn't have mercy on you, you are going to get caught up in this.
Alright, so basically, these devils, they're basically saying that if they detain you in these isolation facilities, and you can't leave. So that right there, that's an unrighteous draconian decrees. And I made sure to include draconian in the title because the dragon gave him his power. Well, not even that really. Yeah, that too, not even that. It's this beast, the second beast. Second beast right here. Revelation 13, verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. So he had two horns like a lamb. You know, had Democratic and Republican. You know, which is really based off the old patrician. Really based off, the old patrician. The patrician and plebeian system. So Democrats and Republicans, and like a lamb. So they speak as they look like a lamb, like they make themselves look like they got your best interests at heart, you know. They're harmless. They ain't here to hurt, they here to help. But that's Esau Edom crouching down. Your enemy crouching down, making you think that he's not a threat. But really, that's when he is a threat. That's what they do. You know, talking about it's a sudden sleepover and shit. When you look into details, that's where the devil is, because they can detain you. They can detain you as a college student as well, and they can detain you as a college student as well, and you can't leave without their permission. Like the brother Bakar brought out, even if you have even if the 2 weeks pass and you think you cool and shit, you think be like, oh no, you gotta stay, man. We've been testing you, man, like he brought out, and you ain't ready yet. Basically, they determine it's all up to them. They could, and then really, nothing wrong with you, but they keeping your ass there. Oh, you think asymptomatic or whatever. So they use that to keep your ass there. So that's exactly how these devils work. That's that incrementalism. You know, that's why you gotta be always mindful. You always that's Ecclesiasticus chapter 12 right there. Ecclesiasticus chapter 12. Verse 10, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusts, so is his wickedness. So really this one right here. Verse 11, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and be aware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped the looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. So you're gonna take good heed and be aware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass. And you're gonna see, no, he's still the wicked. His rust has not been altogether wiped away. This is an example of that. You think this devil is gonna let you out that bitch. No. Hey, no, you can stay. You gotta stay. And then 2 weeks later, you ain't ready to leave. You gotta stay. Meanwhile, your loved ones, your parents, or if you have a woman and you stuck in that bitch, or if you're a woman, you have a man and you stuck in that bitch, they gonna want to see you. They could be like, oh nah, there's no visitor. We're not allowing visitors for this patient. It's isolation center, so no one can visit. They could really do that shit. And meanwhile, she's stuck in the FEMA camp, or he's stuck in the FEMA camp. Hey man, that shit, it's gonna lead to some chaos, because there's already that spirit of sedition among men out there. And these people are already tired of the government. They're already tired of these pigs. So they start doing this shit and enforcing this order. It's gonna cause even more civil unrest. And these devils already have the boots on the ground ready, already have the justification to roll on you Jakes, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, and Israelite foreigners. They're also, of course, going to roll on their own people and these other heathens as well. But it's to get to you, so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, and speckled birds, or Israelite foreigners. These lower level devils and these heathens just happen to be in the way. So that's what it's going to lead to. That's what this devil has determined from the get-go. That's why verse 12, set him not by thee, lest when he had overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. So then y'all will regret trusting this devil. Y'all gonna regret it. Y'all gonna be sitting in them FEMA camps, thinking about what the Hebrew Israelites said. We should have listened. It's gonna be, you too late. Hey, too late. You're in the FEMA camp. You're at the mercy of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, which really were at his mercy anyways, but there will be nothing that you can physically do to get out of this situation. Basically, you'll be under captivity. And yeah, you're going to have brothers caught up in that situation, but Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, you're going to make a way to deliver them. Like you may have brothers that still go to high school, or brothers that go to college. They may be caught up in the situation, but somehow they're going to be delivered. And if it really comes to it and they put you to death, just remember, you getting that crown of life. And you're going to be the first in that chariot. So it's all worth it in the end. But yeah, these devils are moving. And they're moving specifically on you tribes. Because because Trump, that devil wanted y'all so-called blacks and browns. That's what he said. He wanted so-called blacks and browns to be, to go to school. To go back to school first, then so-called whites. And why? Because y'all the target. And then Bill Gates talking about, so-called blacks and Latinos, so-called blacks and Hispanics, right? They're talking about y'all, the same people. Bill Gates is talking about y'all, so-called blacks and Latinos and Native Americans. Y'all gotta take that. Y'all gotta take that vaccine first. He wants more of y'all to participate in the trials and all that. Y'all gotta take that vaccine. Alright, this is being heavenly. Like, y'all gotta take it first. Y'all are the number one priority because y'all are the targets. The Trump and Bill Gates, they work for the same. They work for the same elites. The Rothschilds, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the fake ass, the royal family out in the UK. They work for them, man. And so, one may be so-called liberal or whatever. One may be, one may be a conservative, proud red devil, basically. One may be that. But they're the word. One's a blue, cool blue playing it cool deceptive devil. And the other one is a proud red, proud they hatred or whatever, more open with their hatred, proud to be Esau, Edom, MAGA hat wearing, red devil. But they all work for the same elites. And so that's not a coincidence that you go back to school, but that was all a trap. So your kids at school, and now that they get taken away, they get whisked away to a fucking FEMA camp, and they keep them there, man. That's a Revelation 10. Man, that's Revelation 10 verse Salakia, no, 12 Revelation 2 verse 10, Salakia, for Revelation 2 verse 10 right there. Revelation chapter 2 verse 10. Fear none of these things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. And like I've mentioned before, and brothers have mentioned before, that it doesn't necessarily mean 10 days. Since they're going to keep you in there in a minimum of 2 weeks, right? They don't necessarily... They tell you 2 weeks, right? That's 14 days. So that's not a contradiction. It's just like a specific amount of days. A complete, really, I think that goes into a complete amount of days. So, however, I think so, yeah, however much that you gotta be in there, however long that Yahweh Hashem Yahushai allows you to be in there. Some may be in there for 10 days, some may be in there for longer. Maybe a few months, maybe 10 weeks. Some may be in there for that. Because a day doesn't always mean literal day in the Bible. Especially speaking of prophecy. And this prophecy is usually spoken about in a parabolic way, symbolic type way. Usually spoken of in that way, metaphors, a parabolic way, man. So this is for those of y'all that might look at it and take it literally. See, 10 days. It's not necessarily the case. So be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee eternal life. There you go. There you go. So yeah, these devils. If you're a brother in the truth, or you're an aquath, and you're still in school, or you're in a university, for example, this really it's gonna be rolled out everywhere. This is just the beginning of it. Oh, for example, you're in these places and they're like they take you away. You gotta come with us because you have the Rona, or we feel that you have been exposed to the Rona and you're unsymptomatic. You're gonna be tried. The devil's casting you into prison, that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. That's what's happening. And eventually, it's gonna be more and more time in there, and they're gonna introduce the vaccine, which may include the chip. I'm thinking it may put you to death or something. Oh, it's too much people in these isolation centers. We gotta get rid of some of them. You know what I'm saying? So be thou faithful unto death. Eventually, that's gonna be where they're gonna force people to take the chip. You can't get out then if you don't take the chip, showing that you have taken the vaccine. That's gonna be their excuse for it right there. You take the chip, you can function in society, you can even buy and sell with it. If you don't, then you're gonna off with your head, basically. That's how these devils are gonna do it. They have guillotines already. They have the FEMA camps set up with toilets and shit. They have the guillotines. They actually have them. They have the mass graves, coffins and shit. They already have them. They found that shit. So this is not a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. It's a conspiracy fact. And the Bible is all about conspiracies. The Bible, for one example, was Psalms chapter 83. That's in today's term, today's people, if it was written, if King David came out with it nowadays, because that was a song by King David. If that song was written nowadays, King David would be called a conspiracy theorist. But that's just how these devils would dismiss him. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They hate Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You just look at it, crafty counsel, all that kind of salted against the hidden ones. And, hey, man, it's there. It's there. But that's more of that, more of Second Ezra chapter 16, that also goes into it. These times, we've been prophesying about, we've been bringing it out, and now it's coming to pass. You can see, now you could see that we wasn't wrong, like that commenter on the Savoy show, on that when they was having on that episode about the wildfires in Cali, which you look into it, and Esau is starting this shit. Esau of course has his role in another so-called natural disaster. Really, Yahweh Shem Yahushua is using him to do it because he's a sword. And also, there's places where lightning is starting them, but Esau Edom is, of course, starting wildfires, which is not surprising. He's being used by Yahweh Shem Yahushua to start him. He's that sword. They're used to judge even his own people, as well as you Jakes, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and natives, and Israelite foreigners. But yeah, that unrighteous decree, that draconian decree that's gonna bring about this. Verse 68, for behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you, and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols, which is that vaccine, really release that chip that's coming up, which this gonna lead to it. You can already see it. Verse 69, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot. They're going to take away certain of you. There you go. Certain of you shall be cast in. The devil shall take certain of you and cast you into prison. You shall be tried. Shall have tribulation 10 days. It's a precept to that. Verse 69, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot. So you consent unto what this devil does. You consent unto whatever he gives you. It's the vaccine and the chip. The vaccine and the chip. That's their end game. That's what they're gonna push. Well, that's the whole goal. But you're gonna be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot. So you do what these devils say, you're gonna take that L anyways. Verse 70, he may even put you to death anyways. Verse 70, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear Yahweh Shem Yahushai. They shall be like madmen, verse 71. Sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Whether you fear according to the knowledge or not. Verse 72. Just the difference is that if you fear him according to knowledge, you'll be delivered somehow. Get that crown of life. Yahweh Shem Yahushai, not gonna forget about you. Verse 72, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. That's, you look into them executive orders where the government can basically, they can take your shit. They can take your property. And even your house, really, they could take everything you have. Because you're a slave, none of that belongs to you anyways. They just make you think you're free. Verse 73, and shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. so that ye may be tried, right? You don't be cast into prison that ye may be tried. Verse 74, hear, O ye my beloved, you know. So the 1/3 is to try them, for 2/3 is to destroy them. Verse 74, hear, O ye my beloved, say Yahweh Shem Yahushai, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same, that's for his elect. I hope to be that number, you know. We hope to be that number. Verse 75, be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for Yahweh is your guide. And the guide of them, for Yahweh Shem Yahushai is your guide. Hold on. And I guide of them, will keep my commandments and precepts, say Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves. Basically, this is they're gonna throw us in the FEMA camps, and cast us out of our houses and throw us in the FEMA camps. And you know, if you're right with Yahweh Shem Yahushai, you're gonna get delivered. You're gonna get delivered. So you gotta strive into death. And yeah. Verse 77, woe be unto them that are bound with their sins and covered with their iniquities, like as the field is covered over with bushes, and like the path thereof covered over with thorns, and no man may travel through, you know. Yeah, man. If you bound with your sins, you're not gonna be delivered in that day. And the 78 is left undressed and cast into the fire to be consumed therewith. Yeah. There you go. It's gonna consume you instead of try you. But hey, this is coming to pass. That burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over us. They're gonna take away certain of us. Where is it in FEMA camps? And feed is being idle with things offered unto idols, but it's important not to consent. Don't consent unto them. Let's just hold on. Isaiah 10, which eventually these devils are gonna. This is all gonna lead to the end of his kingdom. He can't stop the prophecies, even though he's gonna try to. Isaiah 10, chapter 1. Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. Woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed. That's these devils. Our people was doing that wicked shit, but these devils, they're the ones that are doing it today. They're going to be destroyed. If he took down our people for that, if he took down the wicked rulers of our people for that, he's going to take down these devils for what they doing. Our people with Yasharallah, with the princes of the power, if he took out his children for that, you know, then for that thing, that's one of the reasons why he took us down. And if he took us, all people, down for that, then he's definitely going to take these devils down for that. Verse 2, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right of the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. There you go. You in them FEMA camps, it's like no one, they can have it so no one can visit you. No one can, you'll be their prey, that they may rob the fatherless. You know, you're helpless in them FEMA camps. You know how these devils get down when it comes to children. There's also the curses. They may rob the fatherless, and their widows may be their prey. Because You read the curses that his brother and towards his wife of his brother and towards you, towards the kids. Or the eye shall be evil. That he gonna leave. That he will leave his son basically leave his children. But he will, yeah, man. It goes into that, and it goes into the siege too, which they're about to come. They're about to come in like a flood. They're setting up. They're setting up a trench around us, like in 70 AD. But that basically shows you who they're targeting. Jacob Yasharala. So these devils, they going down. They going down. There's nothing they can do to stop this. This ain't even gonna stop it. This is actually according to prophecy. Verse 3, what will ye do in the day of visitation, and in the desolation which shall come from far? To whom will ye flee for help, or will ye leave your glory? Which applied to our people back then. But these Edomites, they claim these scriptures, man. They're not the people they claim to be. They're okay, well, they're going to be judged, for breaking this law. And, especially coming against the people of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, they're going to be judged for that. Yeah, so that's the patience and faith of the saints. Whoever endures it ain't going to be saved. Verse Revelation chapter 13, verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. He is the patience and faith of the saints. So these devils, they're going to take us into captivity. And these, they're going to go into captivity. These devils that killed the sword, they're going to be killed with the sword. That's the patience and faith of the saints. That's what we are waiting on. Also, that's motivation for y'all to continue going. And also this, verse 9, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, hold on. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So, that's the negative consequences of not keeping that patience and faith and consenting unto this multitude, this great multitude that's gonna come down with great wrath like a flood, and you're gonna be trodden underfoot, had in derision and all that. Verse 11, and the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest, day or nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever received the mark of his name. So forever and forever, aeons and aeons, for very long, which is an age. So age is particularly So it's a long time. It's a long time you're gonna be in that lake of fire. You know, which those of you which we've already gone into, that's gonna be caused by nukes hitting this place. Verse 12, so here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahweh Shai. So there you go. There you go. Two reasons. Or why you need to keep that faith. And don't give in when this devil rolls on us. Instead of enduring to the end. Endure to the end. And get that. That's for all of us, including myself. Matthew 24, verse 13. Verse 13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. So he that endures to the end. You say, if you give up, you're not going to be saved. You know, the faint, woe to him that is faint-hearted, for he shall not be delivered. Iniquities abound in verse 12, and because iniquity shall abound, love of many shall wax cold, but endure to the end. Because you know why? Because woe to him who is faint-hearted. It's Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verse 13. Yeah. Verse 12, woe be unto fearful hearts and faint hands, and the sinner that goeth 2 ways. Verse 13, woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not, therefore shall he not be defended. Verse 13, woe unto you that have lost patience, and what would ye do when Yahweh Shem Yahushai shall visit you? Verse 15, they that fear Yahweh Shem Yahushai will not disobey his word, and they that love him will keep his ways. Verse 16, they that fear Yahweh Shem Yahushai will seek that which is well-pleasing unto him, and they that love him shall be filled with the loss. So you lose patience, you ain't doing none of these. You faint-hearted, you ain't doing none of these because you don't really believe. Verse 17, they that fear Yahweh Shem Yahushai will prepare their hearts and humble their souls in his sight. Verse 18, saying we will fall into the hands of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, not into the hands of men, for as his majesty is, so is his mercy. And also something else I want to get, chapter 16, the chapter that I was reading about, you know, because it tells you about that burning wrath of a great multitude that's kindled over us. And they will come down on us, like basically it's described in other parts of the Bible, like a flood. It also says at the beginning, woe unto thee, Babylon and Asia, woe unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Cause Asia, this, as I was bringing out how Babylon and China, the Moabites, they are coming up against, each other. Gird up, roll be into the Egypt and Syria. You see what's going on there too. War is about to break out between Greece and Turkey. Egypt is on the side of Greece. In Syria, of course, shit going down over there. Esau is, of course, has his hand in that. It's been hot over there. Syria's allied with Iran, which is, Turkey is eventually they're gonna link up with Russia and Iran and China. That alliance, all these countries. Eventually, they're gonna be in that alliance and against Babylon. So eventually, it's gonna include the whole world. Yeah, verse 2, gird up yourselves with clothes of sack and hair, bewail your children and be sorry, for destruction is at hand. Destruction, woe, the third woe. That destruction is at hand. The destruction of this place. These Moabites are going to feel the heat as well. So Egypt and Syria, Damascus is going to be turned into a ruinous heat, right? Egypt and Syria as well. They're going to get it as well. Babylon, this place is Sodom and Egypt all over again. But also the land of Egypt too. Since they are part of that alliance, they're going to feel the heat as well. And both the actual land of Egypt and spiritual Sodom and Egypt, of course. This place is totally going to be destroyed. And then Babylon and Asia, Moab, the so-called Chinese, Japan, or Japan with so-called Japanese, which are actually the Ammonites. In Vietnam and them, they part of that alliance with America, which that's eventually gonna change. That's gonna change. All they're part of Moab, and of course you have Jake's among them, but there's Moab land. That's the land where Moab is at. Moab and Ammon. Woe unto thee, Babylon, Asia, and Moab and Ammon, the sons of Lot. They had made themselves like Esau, Edom. They have adopted the ways of Esau, Edom. They damn near think they are Esau, Edom. They emulate that man. They want to be like them. They want to rule like them. Moab is not going to have next. Verse 3, a sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? Who is going to turn back that sword? That sword, Esau, Edom. Sending them using this sword on you Moabites and Babylon, of course, modern day Idumea. The sword is bathed in heaven. It's going to come down upon Idumea, the sword of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. That's these ICBMs. We're gonna be shot from the ends of the earth, from Russia, from these Moabites, from Europe, from these different lands, these other lands. They're gonna be shot over here to Babylon, be bathed in heaven and come down. And you're gonna have the chariots getting a piece of the action as well. At the same time, these countries nuking each other and nuking Babylon. These chariots are gonna be joining in, hitting these nations in Babylon over concentrated fire, concentrated heat beams, as well as some of these other nations, man. So, yeah, that goes into verse 4. A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Who's gonna quench that fire? And nuclear fire that's gonna hit y'all. The nuclear fire, it's gonna consume y'all. That's being, of course, gonna be caused by the nukes being launched from being launched at y'all. Babylon is gonna launch their nukes at everyone else too. So a fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? In verse 5, and who may quench it? That's a rhetorical question, because ain't nobody gonna. It's gonna burn until it burn what it need to burn. It consumes what it need to consume. When Babylon's gonna be totally destroyed, with these other heathens, you're gonna have parts of their country being destroyed as well. Verse 5, plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? Who gonna drive these plagues away? And that's one of them. The nukes is one of them. The different plagues that are hitting you Moabites, for example, in Asia. Who driving them away? Ain't nobody driving them away. Y'all, it's multiple plagues that hit. Y'all got the locusts over there. Y'all got other diseases, not just that Rona. You got other diseases over there. You got that swine flu that is hitting your pork supply. So y'all can't eat that pork no more. Y'all got a shortage. You got I think there was a plague that was hitting the chicken. I think it was like the bird flu or some shit. It may have been in Germany, that's Edomite countries. Not talking about. No, I think bird flu was hitting y'all. Hit Moab land as well. Hold on, hold on. Yeah, slacking. But who shall turn them away? And that's just the beginning of it. Yeah, I think China had the bubonic plague as well, and that who gonna turn that away? All these plagues that be hitting America too. They hitting this place too. It's not just nukes that are gonna hit. It's not just. It's gonna be an actual plague that's gonna hit this place, not this Rona bullshit. And Esau may, have his hand in spreading it, but it's not that Rona bullshit. But something real that's actually gonna cause people to drop dead in the streets and shit. So, and what is he that may drive them away? None. Nobody. Verse 6, may any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood, or may anyone quench the fire in the stubble when it had begun to burn? Like, nah. May anyone drive away a hungry lion in the wood. And these beasts, it's an analogy, but also these beasts, these wild beasts, they're gonna change their places. They're already starting to do that. And the teeth of wild beasts they're created to judge you. Judge you wicked 2/3 as well as you devils, you heathens out there. Or may anyone quench the fire in the stubble when it had begun to burn. This place gonna be like stubble. Babylon gonna be like gonna burn up like that, and you 2/3 along with it. You low level devils and heathens, but we are concerned about our people, and 2/3 of you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, and Israelite foreigners are gonna be stubble for that fire. And in China, of course, you Moabites, y'all gonna get it. Parts of Moab are gonna be destroyed by nukes, and you Israelite foreigners that's scattered over there. You have 2/3 among y'all too. Verse 7. 2/3 of the Israelite foreigners are through as well. Verse 7. May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer, and that's referring to these nukes that are going to be shot from one place to another. It's an analogy, but specifically, but these nukes are called arrows. What actual arrow can be shot from one end of the earth to another? Not. And the answer is one don't exist. It's speaking of nukes. And they are being shot of strong archers, these silos, when they shoot them off. They're strong enough to shoot these nukes across the world. Them heavy pieces of metal. With nuclear, with fucking brimstone and shit in them. They're heavy and they're strong enough to shoot the bows are strong enough, the marchers are strong enough, the marchers that bend the bow, they're strong enough to shoot them huge pieces of metal across the world. Salakia. Verse 8, the mighty Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? So who is Yahweh Shem Yahushai sending the plagues? Who is he that can drive them away? Nobody. Who is he that can deliver from the hand of Yahweh Shem Yahushai? Nobody. Verse 9, a fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? So who is he? Who gonna stop it? Who's gonna quench this fire that's gonna be started? That's gonna go forth from the wrath of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Hey, it's too hot to quench. Who gonna do it? Nobody. Verse 10, he shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? Hey, and some of them fires out there, it could be Esau's harp system or whatever. It could be that's doing them lightnings and shit. Could be that, but who is Esau? The sword of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So even so, this is all ordained by Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So he shall cast lightnings, and who shall fear? And them lightnings are hidden in certain places and causing fires. He shall thunder, and who shall be afraid? Like, who ain't gonna be shook? That also goes into them lightnings and thunders that was coming from that throne when the nukes was hidden. When he said, "It is done, it is done," and the city was destroyed, great Babylon came in remembrance before he held by Hashem Yahushai. Yeah, great voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty earthquake is so great. And when them nukes hit, it does sound like that, a great thunder, a great earthquake, but, great thunder and it sound like that, like a blast, bro. Sound like that. Yeah. So who's not gonna fear? Who's not gonna fear? Even these devils, they can be shook. Verse 11, the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence. So he threatened who isn't, who's not gonna be utterly beaten to powder. Like, nobody be able, nobody can be delivered from his hand. Verse 12, the earthquake in the foundations thereof. I was just speaking of an earthquake, right? That great earthquake that's coming. There you go. It's like a whole precept to it. The sea arises up with waves from the deep. And alright. It's also about how Yahweh Shem Yahushai, he causes these things to happen. The foundations thereof, the sea rises up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also before the Lord, and also before Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and before the glory of his power. Verse 13, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. So strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. Arrows that he shooteth they're sharp, and they shall not miss. They gonna hit their target. They shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. There you go. It's talking about them nukes, them heat-seeking. I mean, the missiles that they built. So that they shot from one place, and they meant to hit a certain city. They meant, or maybe even a few cities. They meant to hit a certain, a certain location. They're not gonna miss it. It's gonna fucking hit. They ain't gonna miss. Verse 14, behold, the plagues are hid and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. So the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come to the earth. So it's already sent out. Nothing you could do to stop it. It's not going to return, like, it ain't going to turn back around. They're sent and they shall not return again until they come upon the earth. A fire is kindled, verse 15, and shall not be put out, so consume the foundation of the earth. Verse 16, like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returned not backwards, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again. So it's like You know, the arrow that shot of a mighty arch is not going to return backwards where it came from. It's going to keep going. Even so, the plague that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again. You know, that's why Ezra say, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? You know, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars and powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? You know, what shall I do? What shall I do? Like, what might... Ezra was even worried about it. He was like, damn, what am I going to do in those days? You know, this was going to happen way later on. Like, later on, way after his time, you know, way after he was on earth as Esdras. Because, of course, you come back. You come back and you're in that lot. So he's back today in that lot. In that same lot. Yeah, verse 19. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So, to get it right. But, you know, Jake, you know, because Jake, Israel is, as to the law is given to, and specifically meant for Jake to get right. Verse 20, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. They gonna forget. They gonna forget, and a day of prosperity, there is a forgetfulness of affliction. Verse 21, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, war, famine, and great confusion. You know, you see how shit has been cheap upon earth. They think they're in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth. Even then, you see it. These wars are breaking out. You know, there's ww3 brewing. You know, different parts of the earth. You know, shit getting hot. Famine. The crops in Iowa, for example, being destroyed. That's going to cause that. This growing upon earth. Other places you already see, you know, where crops have been destroyed. You already see what's going on. But here in Babylon, it's going to hit. What you think is going to happen from these crops being destroyed, and how are these farmers being these workers, these Israelite workers, that they got the fuck out of there because they was trying to force them to do testing. They was forcing it, like, you gotta. So these migrant workers, they dipped. They got the fuck out. And which, you know, Esau of course is, you know, by doing that he caused that to happen. So they dipped out, and so not only were those crops destroyed, but there was more no one to pick the crops that are left. Well, no one to pick the crops that are coming up, basically. And no one to basically help with that work the Ishkar be doing out there in the fields, basically. And no one, and now there's a drought in the area. It's been a drought. And so all this is gonna cause a shortage. These truck drivers, they striking, right? Well, they plan on striking, was what I heard. Not going into them cities where there's protests. Anyways, food supply, when they set up these, the days come where man shall not be able to come into a city, but shall be afraid. But like they're gonna want to come to into a city, but they're not gonna be able to. I mean, these truck drivers, they ain't gonna be able to come in. It's gonna be hard to come in, you know. That's why they shall not be able to. You know, Esau, Edom can just cut off the food supply like that anyways during martial law. Famine and plague. Well, famine and great confusion. You know. That's what you see today too. This LGBT, XYZ nonsense. You can be a woman. You can be a woman in your mind or some shit, even though you're biologically a man, vice versa. You know, all types of confusion that this place promotes. There's all types of movements of being a pedophile, fool, and all that. All types of movements. All types of confusion. You know, so that and also that what's going on, people don't know what's going on as well. There's different theories, and then there's the truth of what's going on. Verse 22, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So that's like a parasite. Oh wow, UFO shoots down American missile. Hey, shit's going down. Hey, Esau getting ready to go to war with Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. That's gonna be the end of this devil and these heathens. So for many of them, that's Amos. It's Amos 5:8-17-18. That's a precept. That's basically what it's saying in Amos. Woe, verse 18. Amos 5, verse 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. To what end is it for you? The day of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is darkness and not light. Verse 19. As if a man did flee from a lion, and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall, and the serpent bit him. So like you ain't gonna be able to get away from this judgment. It's gonna be one thing after another. One thing you flee from, one thing you get hit by another. You know, and the beasts are gonna be involved in that, of course. The teeth of wild beasts. It's different calamities that are gonna hit. They shall, man. There shall be no, and shall sword destroy. Verse 23, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. You know, a lot of death out there. Verse 24, there shall no man left to till the earth in the soul. Verse 25, the tree shall get fruit, and who shall gather them? Verse 26, the grape shall ripe, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men. It's going to be very few. Verse 27, and then lockdown too. And you saw that last lockdown, the cities were very empty. And you saw a glimpse of it. It's going to get bad out here. Verse 27, so that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. You know, it's gonna really be Bad out there, you know, a lot of death. The rest of people in hiding, trying to survive. Verse 28. For of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of a field where shall hide themselves in thick groves, and in the clefts of rocks. Also, that goes into the wrath of the Lamb. They can hide themselves in the clefts of rocks and shit. Not just the elites, but not just these, not just them. But also some regular people are gonna do that shit as well. Verse 29. As the orchard of olives upon every tree there left 3 or 4 olives. Verse 30. Or when the vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Verse 31. Even so in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses to steal your shit. Because they hungry. Even kill you, eat you, and they'll be that hungry. Verse 32. And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travail through. You know, it's going to be blocked off. You know, you think of that scene in I Am Legend. Think of the, it should bring to mind New York City in that movie I Am Legend. There was fucking bushes, fucking brush growing up everywhere, fucking animals and shit. There's even a fucking lion loose out there, you know, because it's gonna be desolate. The path shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travail therethrough. Verse 33. A virgin shall mourn slacking, having no bridegrooms. The woman shall mourn, having no husbands. Hold on, I can't. Hold on. Actually, that's what I gotta do. Alright. Alright. Shalom, I'm back. I'm going to what I was going into and probably wrap up soon. Yeah. Where virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The woman shall mourn, having no husbands. The daughters shall mourn, having no helpers, which is how the Isaiah 4:1 is going to come about. There's going to be a shortage of those men. The daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. Fuck. The daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. Verse 34, and the war shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. So in these race wars, these civil wars, no, even World War III, when they draft you Jakes, and when they draft you Babylonians, and they send y'all out to the valley of Yehoshaphat, you're gonna die out there. That's the ones of y'all that are left. Because a lot of y'all gonna die in the civil wars and the race wars in this country. And their husbands shall perish of famine. So the famine too is gonna kill a lot of y'all. Verse 35. Hear now these things. Hold on, Akim. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Yeah, so he was out. Verse 36, behold the word of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, believe it. Believe not the gods of whom Yahweh Shem Yahushai spake. Verse 37, behold the plagues draw nigh, and they're not slack. They're coming soon. They're not slack. They're not slack. They don't miss. Verse 38, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, within 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. They just keep going and keep going. And that's what you've seen. That's what you've seen. With these prophecies, one after another. 2020 has been pretty hot. The year of prophecy was right. 2019 was nothing compared to this year. Neither was the year before. Now instead of being periods of time, it's like one after another. They slack not a moment. Verse 39, even shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. Hey, the Apostle Tahar, he was right, man. He was right on the money when it came to this year. Shows you that he's a man of the Lord. He shows you that Yahweh Shem Yahushai is working with that man and men in GMS in general on like-minded Akim, such as myself. Y'all right this out. Keep working with me. Verse 40, hear, O my people, hear my word, make you ready to the battle. Be ready for that battle, that spiritual and, it's going to get carnal. These devils going to roll on us. And Yahweh Shem Yahushai going to raise up that standard, but that spiritual battle, it's real. And then those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. You know that be even as pilgrims upon the earth, not just in one area, one area in Georgia, for example, not just in a few acres, 15 acres in Georgia, not just that. Come on now, man. Come on, you're making yourself a easy target. It's not wise. Verse 41, he that shall be, let him be, is him that he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth is one that will lose. So like we ain't gonna have this shit in the future anyways. This shit temporary. In the near future we gonna lose it. Verse 42, he that occupied merchandise says he had no profit by it, because you're gonna lose it. And he that buildeth it, he shall not dwell therein. You ain't gonna live this temporary. So why put in all this work? I put in all this work to build a whole community down there in Georgia, man. Come on. It ain't gonna work out. Hasn't in the past. He that soweth, as he shall not reap. And so he that planteth the vineyard, as he shall not gather the grapes. It's all temporary. Verse 44, even they that marry, they shall get no children, and they that marry not as the widowers. They that work labor in vain. That's 45. They that marry, they that shall get no children, because these days we ain't gonna have no children, man. They shall get no children. In these days, okay. That goes into Matthew chapter 24 when it talks about, those that woe unto them that be with give suck in those days. They that shall get no children, and they that marry not as the widowers. Verse 45, and therefore they that marry not, and you don't have no ways as the widowers, going into those days. On verse 45, and therefore they that labor in vain, because it's all going to be taken from you. You put it in a bag of holes anyways, but it's going to be all taken from you. All this going to be consumed with fervent heat. For strangers shall reap their fruits and spoil their goods, overthrow their houses, and take their children as captives. This is that decree, or that unrighteous decree in Ohio. For in captivity and famine shall they get children. Y'all are going to be captives too. Verse 47, and they that occupy their merchandise with robbery, the more they deck their cities, their houses, and their possessions in their own person. Verse 48, the more I will be angry with them for their sins, saith Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. The more you trust in those possessions, and you think they're going to save you on that day. That right there, all this going to be consumed with fervent heat. So you need to not put too much stock in it. Fervent heat. Alright, so I guess 2 Peter 3 verse 10, but the day of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai will come as a thief in the night, which the heavens will pass away with the rushing wind, with a great noise, Lakia, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works there that are therein shall be burned up. So you gotta be focused on this truth and continue to be focused on this truth. Alright, persevering to the end. Alright, so I hope this live was edited fine. I want to give all praise to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the Akim out there spreading this truth. And shalom to the Israelite foreigners who look like the other nations, but their spirit beareth witness that they're the children of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Shalom, stay strong, men and women of valor, hopeful elect out there. The end is almost here. You know, the end is, your salvation is nearer than, well, our salvation is nearer than what we believe. So keep looking up, for your redemption is nigh. Keep looking up, stay strong, persevere until the end. Shalom.